and Beyond Sight magazine, an online community where real beauty transcends barriers. Our Women on the Move segments focus on monthly profiles of inspirational women, their capabilities, achievements, and their journeys as they navigate through the course of sight loss and blindness. I'm your host, Nazreen, and for our May 2020 segment of Women on the Move, our featured guest is Miss Tiffany Baylor. With an open mind and a willing spirit, she has accomplished so much. She's a gold medal winning athlete. She's attended the Pan America Games. She's a public speaker. She's appeared on some TV segments. She's a teacher of the visually impaired and had the opportunity to be a torch bearer. To name just a few of the extraordinary things that she has done to date. Amazing stuff. So let's all give a warm welcome to Tiffany. Hey, Tiffany.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for being here on our platform.
I'm glad to be here.
You've got quite an incredible journey, which started with glaucoma. It's really not the ideal birthday gift for anybody.
Not at all.
Can you tell us a little bit about your background and your journey?
Yes, I was born with a visual disability in my right eye, but my parents were very proactive. It was in the 60s, and in the 60s, they did not really integrate students with disabilities into school settings or have any items for people to use to be successful in school. You just sort of were off to the side. But my mother was a teacher at that time, and she just felt that I should just get in there and figure out a way to make it happen. And I remember thinking, I'm in school, I don't know I'm not looking at everything, I can't see everything. My mother said, well, there's got to be a way that you can do it. So from that very young age, I learned to start thinking out of the box and creating a way to make things happen that I needed to make happen. From then, I just went on through life. I went to regular school in the 60s, which is unusual for people who are with visual impairment. I went to high school, graduated with honors in high school, went to college. I had a very full life and did all kinds of things that I really liked to do. I was on the track team. I just enjoyed life. And then when I was about 30, I started having some blurry vision, and they let me know that my vision is going to get worse in my left eye. So I already had limited vision in my right, actually none in my right. And now my left eye was going to the sight was going to be taken due to glaucoma. So that was right before my 30th birthday, and that was a little hard to swallow. I think I was a little bitter for a minute because, you go through your stages. But I actually hid from any training that they wanted to give me. They were being so kind, and they were trying to offer different training opportunities at the school for the blind for adults, like it was Braille Institute, and they wanted to help. But I was just a little too caught up in the stereotypes that people have for blind people. And here I was one of them from birth, yet I believe the stereotypes for a totally blind was like going to be devastating, and I didn't want to be represented that way. So I just tried to not really affiliate. And next thing you know it, I finally got on the bus and went there to Braille Institute and loved it, because not only did I learn the skills I was supposed to learn to succeed where my gaps were, but I got to see people who had visual impairments and blindness that were so forward thinking and didn't really see the blindness as their obstacle, just as something you just sort of go around right quick and figure out a way to not really have that impact you negatively. And they invited me to be represent them in public speaking situations. And so that's, I went from trying to hide from the shuttle bus that was going to pick me up to take me to Braille Institute all the way to where I was presenting to the community in the area in California about the benefits of learning to use other means and thinking outside of the box to accomplish the same things that everybody else was accomplishing who is sighted.
That's phenomenal. I mean, it takes, a little bit of mindset challenging and reprogramming yourself to do something like that. And then you can't obviously hide from it. It's amazing that, that you got on the bus, you pulled yourself together and you recognized what, when you got there, what out of the box thinking or thinking forward people are like. And you're right about stereotypes when it comes to blindness. The stereotypes are so big and they're huge. And sometimes they begin with us ourselves. So
Right.
The fact that you conquered that and were able to then embrace the rest of your journey through this, through sight loss and blindness is just incredible. I know you've got your whole story sort of like, in our segment on Women on the Move. So that's fantastic. People can get to kind of really see the nuts and bolts of that journey as they read that when it's published this month. I know you're a public speaker for the guide dogs for the Blind Speakers Bureau.
Yes.
You also got a guide dog for the very first time. Can you share, what that journey was like for you, and then perhaps share a tip for those who want to consider getting a guide dog, but they're not certain?
I tell you, the most important thing is to please have some very strong orientation and mobility skills.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's some misconceptions when people are thinking about getting a guide dog, that they think that we pretty much see the dog, we tell them, and we say, hey, can you go down to the corner of 37th and Elm? Go. And that's not really how it works. We have to know we have to know how to read cues in the environment. We have to learn to find landmarks. We have to get our directionality well organized, and the organization of cities. All the logic that goes with that. We have to understand being able to read traffic. We have to do all that, because
Mm-hmm.
what we're doing is we're just telling the dog to forward, and the dog is deciding the safest route to get us to the location or the action that we ask for. If we tell him go forward when we're crossing the street, he's going to check and make sure this is a safe way to do it. So
Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest thing to consider when getting a guide dog is really have your stuff together. And then secondly, that open mind comes up again. Have an open mind and be ready to learn everything. Be a sponge when you show up at that place and learn everything that there is to learn about guide dogs and the way dogs think, even, and what you can do to make your dog feel comfortable and confident, because confident is a big one. There's just, and then enjoy it, live it, enjoy it, trust him, enjoy it, and train each other every day for the entire time that you have that dog.
That's a phenomenal concept, is to train each other, because you would think that the dog is going to guide you, but it looks like what you're saying here to everybody who's unfamiliar with this, with guide dogs and are maybe thinking about looking into it, is definitely it's a collaboration, and secondly, you are still in control.
Exactly.
Excellent. Another fascinating facet about you is that you're interested, or you have done some clogging. Now, what is clogging and how do you do it?
Well, clogging is it's a form of dance that's it's with shoes that have taps on them, and it has sort of like an Appalachian style dance. The beat is really upbeat and kind of with fiddles.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have the modern kind where they can do it to something like Michael Jackson music. I mean, there's just so many. It goes, and Christian music. They do some to Amazing Grace. We have a really good one to Amazing Grace. Mm-hmm. So you can. It's different. You have a team. Okay. Let's just say, I was at an event with my daughter, And one of the companies, or the performers on stage, was something called Mountain Dew Cloggers. And they were a clogger. You can't miss the sound. It was just, and it was so neat because they were so synchronized. And I just thought that was the most amazing thing. And then my daughter said, you know, Mom, I think we ought to do that. And that's how it all got started. I remember saying, Keshe, you know I'm blind, right? Now, how am I supposed to, you know, learn these steps, and including learning the steps, not fall off the stage? That alone.
Yeah.
Because they're really kicking up high and dancing and turning and skipping. And, you know, so I remember thinking, well, you know, there's that out of the box thinking again. I went home and just started trying to figure out how I can make that happen. And I went to the first meeting, and, you know, I don't know what they were thinking, because I come walking in there with my cane, because I, you know, and then they're like, you know, are you gonna, I'm signing up for clogging. And they said, well, all right. And you know what? They had an open mind too. And you know why they had an open mind? Was because I had the open mind. If I walk in there confident, like, I don't know what I have to do to make this happen, but I'm going to make this happen, they're more apt to join in the party and figure out how we're going to make this happen. And so,
Brilliant.
yeah,
Brilliant.
we do that. And that was very fun. Very fun. I still do it. Yeah, I do it. We perform all over.
Very awesome. I've never heard of this. Can you tell us a little bit about just a little bit about the shoe? So you say it's there's tap under the shoe. Is this the actual, you know, those clogs, wooden shoes that
No.
it's not those. Okay.
No, it's not the Holland,
Okay.
the clog wooden shoes. These actually look like flat tap shoes.
Okay.
And but the difference in the tap is that it's double tapped. So it has a tap that's connected to the shoe and a tap that's connected to the tap. So the sound is doubly crisp when you shuffle or whatever, doubly loud. And our team is about 93 people.
Wow, that's amazing.
So when we come over to perform, we show out pretty good. And they have me right in front. And remember the question about how am I not going to fall off the stage?
Yes.
We have a catcher. I do. I have a catcher. When everybody gets on stage and he calls the song for us to do, I come and start to get up, and there's a gentleman in a red shirt, because we see red a lot clearer. And he is standing there. I hand him my cane, and then I walk right up on stage, and I'm right there, and he stays right there. If there was an emergency and I ever fell off, he's right there to catch me.
Oh, that's phenomenal. That is absolutely phenomenal, Tiffany. I don't think I've ever heard anybody do that before. So I think that's incredible. You are living life to the fullest. Love it. Absolutely love it. What is My Pink Cane? Can you tell us about that?
Yes, My Pink Cane is a public speaking company that I have. It started off as just giving some in-services in my office at Division of Blind Services when I was working there in headquarters. But it seemed that there was a need for blindness sensitivity training, advocacy for guide dog service use inside of buildings. And I'm here right by the legislature. So guide dog service laws and training businesses what their rights are in asking the questions. If someone comes in with a dog that doesn't seem to be legitimately a service dog, and also what rights do people have when we come in, and best practices. So I teach this all over Florida, and I at government offices, the Secretary of State's office, Kaiser University, elementary schools, anywhere that there is a need. And I have a website called Pink Cane, and it's at pinkcane.wordpress.com, and where you can see and request a presentation. And my presentations are different because they're not just sitting there talking to the people. I have people up and doing all kinds of things to a point where you really don't sit down much when you're in one of my presentations. We even do sighted guide, and they have to go find somebody who's going to be their sighted guide, and we have obstacles, and they're very interactive. My presentations are so interactive that we're friends by the time I leave the presentation, and I really enjoy it. It's something I love because it's something I'm passionate about, and I want people to think outside the box, not just me, and not just, the few people that I interact with. I want everybody just to take a minute and see it from our standpoint, and see just how daily activities are impacted by blindness, and what kind of things would you do to make yourself still be able to do that hobby that you like to do, or that art that you like to do, or a job that you like to do.
I think that's excellent. A real game changer. You're really rattling the cages, as I call it, and making people really think on both sides of the spectrum. And, hats off to you for that. You're very engaging, and good to always be out of the box. So fantastic on that. If you could describe yourself in one word, what would that be?
Creative.
Yeah, I agree. So far, what I've heard from the clogging to how you're engaging with people in your presentations and stuff, it's absolutely, definitely. I think that's a befitting word for you. Who's been your biggest influencer?
This is going to sound really strange. My students.
Okay. How?
That sounds weird, I'm sure. But the reason why is because my students kind of don't know that there are limits.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even consider that. A lot of my congenitally blind students, they just do it. They have an obstacle. They don't see it. They want to get, they want to play this game like everybody else. They're going to figure out a way. Kids kind of they don't have that fear and that barrier of what people think. They just know, I want that. So what am I going to do to get that? And it's true like that for sighted and children who have blindness. So they're just so inspiring. They are so inspiring. I think it was a child that suggested that I hike the Appalachian Trail. And literally when school let out that summer, I was on the train the next day, and I was out there, just me and my guide dog, and hiking the Appalachian Trail. It's just you stop at I wonder if I could possibly do this, or or that, or it's just creativity.
Just like that, on one student's sort of suggestion.
Well, because they were studying it. Yes, they were studying it, and they said, "Oh, I'd like to do that someday. Can I do that?" And I'm thinking, yes, you can.
You can do that. Yeah, absolutely. We can all learn from children. You're right.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no barriers to them. They just get up and go and do their thing, and they're very comfortable in their skin. And the funny thing is, we all adults start off like that. Well, I don't know what exactly happens to us later.
Right.
So what are some of your long-term goals moving forward for Tiffany Baylor and all the things that you do?
My long-term goals, the biggest one is to keep this open mind, because a lot of the things that I have done or I've been blessed to do have just been someone saying, I'm really might need someone to do this, and you interested in helping us out? And then it's the mindset of, well, there usually aren't blind theater directors, but I'll give it a try. It's okay, well, so I want to keep that. That's my main goal, is to live to my fullest, and I want to let people realize. I want to share. I don't want to say this, sounds weird. I don't want to share. It sounds like I want to share blindness. I want to share blindness from the mindset of, the blindness doesn't identify me. There's so much more to me. The blindness is just one of these things, that I have to contend with. Other people might, have chronic hiccuping. I don't know. And they work it out. I just have to, it's just something that I navigate with, through, and around. And I want everybody, I want to be out in community as much as possible and in the world and participating in so many activities so that people will learn by my example. I want people to see me out there clogging and go, she's blind, isn't she? You know, she can't that man her cane. and then they'll say, but she's getting down.
And she's having fun.
Yeah.
Look at her go.
So I want them to go, okay, so in the back of their head, they had this stereotype set where blind people can't dance, blind people can't get up on stage and perform. And then suddenly I just blew it out of the water. So then it's like, well, all right. And I want so many of those opportunities where people go, well, all right then. And that's what I want. My long term.
That's amazing and phenomenal. You are quite an inspiration. I'm a great leader, and just a real go-getter, in my opinion.
Thank you.
So, any inspirational thoughts? Trying to keep people staying focused during these real challenging and tough times. Do you have any inspirational thoughts you could share with us?
I don't want to say turn off the news, but I almost want to say turn off the news.
So let's turn off the news.
I just broke some law by saying turn off the news. I would say turn off the news, and not because, of all the political and just to be picking a side or anything like that. I'm saying turn off the news because we know what's going on. If you want details, research it through the CDC. I work for the Department of Health right now, so I'm serious. Research it through the CDC and the Department of Health in your area, and don't get caught up in everyone else's fear. Because common sense will help you through this. Common sense. Protect yourself, protect your family, exercise your guide dog, because they can feel the stress that you are sending out through pheromones. Exercise your dog, have fun, try to look for all the positives that there are. And then, just don't look at the news except for if there's just something important. Keep up to make sure you know that the city is opening up now, or this, that, and the other. But do not spend so much time joining in other fear.
Yeah, because fear, we let that take us over. And lately there's been a lot of fear out there, in the media throughout. So totally get that. That's a great advice and suggestion for everybody out there. And I love it. Brilliant. Exercise your guide dog, because we tend to forget that. We're not exercising because we're so fearful inside our home. And
right.
So shouldn't, Pluto over there sit in the corner too with us.
Right.
So
and also I want to say, lean on your family. My family and I meet on Sunday evenings via Zoom. We have a standard Zoom meeting, and we used to have Sunday dinner. So we now have Sunday dinner on Zoom. You fix yourself a really good dinner and you set it up and have the Zoom right in front of Zoom, and everybody's just sharing dinner. What do you have? I made shrimp with what? Oh my gosh, tell me how you make that one. Well, and everybody's having Sunday dinner as a group. Or we play a trivia game on Zoom. But then you're not isolated, Yeah. We're not isolated. We're not as isolated as we think we are if we have electronics working.
That's fantastic. Who'd have thunk, technology would be our best aid in this sort of dilemma.
Right.
But there it is. Yeah. So, Tiffany, how can we reach you?
Oh, yes. The best way to reach me is possibly the My Pink Cane website. There is a tab that says contact us, and it actually lets you put in your information in there. I check it regularly, and I will just contact you back.
Awesome stuff. That'll be really helpful to our listeners and our readers.
Yes.
So thanks, Tiffany, for sharing your incredible journey with us. You'll be able to find Tiffany's story in Beyond Sight magazine under Women on the Move for May 2020 segment at www.bold.com. blindbeauty.com. Thanks for listening, everyone.